I love going over wins. It gets everybody juiced up, lets you know where you're at. But at the same time, sometimes it feels, I don't know, it feels like, all right, you just got your name shouted out and it was just your first name. Like, what does it really mean? Understand, guys, consistency is the key to everything. It's not hard to go all in for 1 month, put up a big month, or all in for 1 week, put up a big week. Maybe you got lucky, maybe you didn't, but understand that consistency is going to lead to a changed life. And so you should make it your goal to consistently be a top producer and consistently get as much money off the table as you can and consistently help as many clients as you can and raise the bar for everybody else around you. If you hadn't heard this before, if no one said this to you, treat it like I'm not speaking to a group of 200. Imagine I was just sitting here talking to you one on one. And please listen to this. You never know who's watching you. I promise you, there's more people watching you than what you realize. And your hard work and your success, it's going to have a domino, a ripple effect of impact on an awful lot of people. People inside this business, people outside this business. And so on the days that you don't feel like it, and there's going to be plenty of those days. I promise you, there'll be plenty of those days. You say, how do you know, Joe? Because there's plenty of days I wake up and don't feel like it. It doesn't that never goes away. In case you guys were confused, like you never become like some AI bot where you just are excited to work your butt off all day, every day. But what will keep you going on the days that you don't feel like it is now you're not just letting yourself down, you're letting down a ton of other people. And it's way, way more difficult to let other people down than to let yourself down, is what I have found over the years. And so you want to elevate to a position of responsibility because that responsibility forces the right habits, it forces the right discipline, it forces consistency, and then it becomes automated. So make it your goal to get there. Speaking of, I'm thrilled to have on my guy, Chris Mumby, today. Chris Mumby shattered a Pinnacle record this past week, shattered the record. And I want to give you like really, really clear detail on exactly what he did. Chris, are you on? Unmute so I could spotlight
Yes,
you.
sir.
You are. There he is, the man. Now I can say the myth, the legend, because you just broke records, bro. Let me spotlight myself real fast, and I'm gonna add Gaby Baby. Nobody else can call him Gaby Baby, just so you know. That's just me. Gabe, can anybody else call you that? Or is it just me?
Just you, bro.
All right. So nobody else you can't. Everybody else, he's just Gabe, the man Erickson to you. But Chris, you did 25 unique individual applications this past week. Submitted 25 apps.
That's
Also, guys, this is really important to note. None of them were his and hers. It was 25 unique clients, unique deals. This one blows my mind because for some of y'all that are like feeling like the reason you're not successful is because somebody else has secret sauce that you don't. Zero AI appointments booked, zero appointment setters. You're on the phone dialing leads manually. What was the total amount of annual premium?
it was 40,700, and I wasn't able to work on Saturday, so I had to make sure I got it Monday through Friday.
My guy. He calls me on Friday afternoon. It's like 4 o'clock. He's like, dude, what's the Pinnacle record for applications submitted? And I was like, dude, let me look. I was like, why? Who's about to break a record? He's like, I think me. He's like, but I've got something going on tomorrow. And if I haven't broken the record, I'm gonna cancel my plan so I can work tomorrow because I'm taking the freaking record. Dude, that's the kind of like rabid hunger that excites me. Why? Because what Chris is doing right now, and obviously we're giving Chris a ton of love today because he deserves it. But what Chris has done, he shifted his identity over the last 9 months of his life. Like radically. Like if you're not getting it, Chris sees himself as the best to ever do it. He believes it with all of his heart. How do I know? Because I've been a part of his team calls. They go, we're the best to ever do it. Now, are they number one right now in the industry? No. Are they going to be? Dude, if y'all were a stock, I'd be betting. I'd be buying. I believe it. You know why I believe it? Because you believe it. And we do what we believe we can. So, Chris, dude, first off, congratulations. What is equally inspiring and impressive to me is seeing the amount of people inside of the Visionaries group that their identities are changing and the production coming out of the group that you are helping to run. And it's not just you. You're getting the love today because nobody else broke the record. You did. But Joe Turner, one of my favorite people on the planet, JP DeBoyer, Lucas Ficara, Ben Banya, like you guys are killing it. And I made a promise a long time ago, man, to myself and to the people that I care about. Whatever level I'm ever able to achieve in my life in business, it means nothing if I don't bring everybody along with me. And dude, you're bringing everybody along with you guys. And that is the mark of true leadership. So, dude, I'm giving you all the flowers because it's well deserved. Chris, by the way, tell everybody, how old are you?
I am 22 years young.
You're 22 years young. You guys are just killing the game. Guys, if you're listening in, what I want you to be thinking, by the way, because I'm about to like stop talking and let Chris just go, because we're going to bring the sauce today. I want you to hear exactly what he's doing, what he's spending. We're going to do a full role play. I want you to hear his exact sales process. Like we're going to dive deep today. I want you guys to take notes, please, because what I can promise you is there ain't nothing special about Chris except for he's working harder than you and he believes he can. Is it the mustache? But dude, how much
Definitely plays a part for
how much
It's
sure.
good.
how much
It's good for at least 10 apps, I think.
For sure, yeah.
that makes sense, bro. It's like
Definitely.
a little handicap. I like it. I like it. But I want you thinking like, and some of y'all are going to be puzzled because you're going to assume that Chris is lying at the end of this call. You're going to be like, he's got something that he's not telling me about. Like he's got some kind of magic lead or some kind of magic CRM, or he doesn't. Like, guys, he doesn't. I've worked closely with Chris and his group. He ain't got nothing that you don't, except for between the ears. And what he has between the ears, you could have too. So that's what I want you to bring and take away from today's call. So, Chris, enough of me gassing you up. Let's dive into the weeds here. Bro, you started with us what? It's been a little bit less than a year.
Yeah, I started full time last May. That's when I moved to Chicago.
All right. Last May. So
Yep.
it's been what, 10 months?
10 months.
10,
Yep.
10 months. What's interesting, dude, and we've had you on before and you shared your story, but bro, you made some mistakes in the first 90 days. So like give me cliff notes so everybody can hear. It's not like you came in and figured it out like in 4 seconds because you didn't. So just cliff notes on the mistakes you made in your first 90 days.
Yeah, so I touched on it a little bit on the convention if you were on the producer panel. Gabe asked me a really good question on stage. Um, at the time, it was a very big mistake financially, but it was actually one of the most important things I probably could have done up until this point. I moved out to Chicago in the middle of May. I have sales experience, so I did the doors, not much, but I did a summer of the doors. I was very successful at that. So I had some sort of confidence. I knew how to talk, like I knew the basic fundamentals of sales, but I didn't know anything about insurance whatsoever. But on one of these calls, one of the main things that you guys were touching on was the importance of lead spend. And the top producers not only have a good skill set, but they also don't handicap themselves on the amount of volume that they get. So I had never bought in a lead batch up until this point. I was dialing the 60-year-old mailers that 10 other people had dialed. That was my extent. But when I came into Chicago, that's when I was buying leads. And I didn't even know that you were supposed to triple dial the leads at the time. I thought it was just like a one and done kind of deal. So I would dial them. If they didn't pick up, it's like, all right, I'll on to the next. Um, so I would buy a batch of 300 leads for 1,200 bucks. And that would last me probably, I don't know, half the week because I would only single dial them once and I wouldn't milk them. Like I knew how to milk a neighborhood. I didn't really know how to milk a lead sheet. So I was like, all right, well, 300's down the drain. I might have got 2 deals or whatever it is.
Dude, all I
I'll
could
be
think
buying my
about when you
next
said
batch.
that was Meet the Fockers. So if you guys got that joke, think great. Keep going, Chris.
But I would go through like 300 leads, spend 1,200 bucks, whatever it was, and then I would just buy another batch. And at the end of May, it wasn't even a full month. At the end of May, I had a call with one of my mentors, and I was like, "Hey, like I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't think I would be like losing money to the extent that I am because I spent almost $11,000 my first month on leads, and I didn't have a good skill set, so um, definitely wasn't super profitable. To keep it brief, Cliff Notes aspect of it, but it actually, you know, did a lot of good things for me because not milking, I was getting a lot of conversations, so I was able to learn the skill set in a very condensed amount of time. And I actually didn't have to buy leads in June because I front loaded so much when I learned that crucial triple dial rule. I was like, "Oh my God, this is a game changer." So then I just went through all my leads and I would triple dial them. And then June was actually a profitable month. But that was a mistake, but it was actually a great lesson learned that I took forward and attributed to a lot of the success now.
Let's just stop for 10 seconds, guys. The mind of a winner goes every mistake I made was an opportunity to learn something and grow from it. That's the mind of a winner. So, Chris, fast forward a little bit. You move to Chicago. You're single dialing every lead. You think the rest is trash. You're just like, you ain't milking nothing, bro. You're
Yep.
just skimming the top. And you're like, holy smokes, how is anybody making money in the life insurance space? And then you finally figure it out. Um, Fast forward to today, you understood, and like, guys, I'm saying this for your benefit, not Chris's. You understood, Chris, that you would need to change your lead journey to be able to do what you want to do in this space. And so that's really, really critical. I talk about this a lot in leadership type trainings. Like if you're trying to like spend 400, 500, 600 bucks a week on aged leads and you think that's going to be the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years of your insurance career, you're thinking about this game the entirely wrong way. Promise you. About everybody starts out with aged mail. About everybody does, because that's typically all you can afford. And even if you could afford more, you don't have the skill set to properly work a high intent digital lead when you first start out. So you got to cut your teeth on that stuff, but it's not meant to be a stopping point. It's meant to be a starting point. And you have to understand what that progression journey should look like to become the agent that you need to be. Multiply your time, multiply your effort, multiply your cash flow. So you figured that out because you started asking all the right questions to all the right people. I mean, I was there for it. I watched your evolution. What does it look like today, Chris? What are you spending on leads? What type of leads are you buying? And no cap, like give them like exact numbers of what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm an open book. The pitch that I'm gonna go over with you guys all on the phone call, I live dive every single deal that I threw up this past week was completely unmuted for everyone to listen to. Everyone to listen to. So if you don't believe that what I say is what I actually say, come find out in Discord. I'm in there every single day.
Come
But
find out.
yeah, come find out. But leads, how that actually works for me. So, I've had a digital Facebook campaign with multiple different vendors. They're all good. There is no, you know, Mount Everest to the Facebook campaign. They're all good. I've done them all. So I've done Facebook campaigns since July. I did aged mailers for my first 2 months. I issue paid my first 40 plus K month on a mixture of aged and a campaign. And I've spent anywhere from $100 all the way to $400 a day. It's just kind of a progression. But currently, I am spending $250 a day. So that was last week. I spent $250 a day for the entirety of that week. And I will up it for sure. But I'm in a spot now to where I feel like I get a lot of applications. So even $250 a day, I'm fairly busy. I see some fall off on Thursday, Friday, Saturday for sure because I don't have that Sunday buffer where I'm not dialing. But right now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I can keep very busy talking to people. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's a little bit more milking. So I think this week I will probably up it like halfway throughout the week. That way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I can keep just as busy as my Monday through Wednesday. But it's a digital campaign, $250 a day.
You're doing 250 a day, 7 days a week.
Yes, sir. I never turn it off ever. If I go on vacation for a week, it's on. If I'm not working, it's on. Because
I'm
that
saying
way,
that so everybody else hears that, Chris, because it's really important.
never turned it off. Since July, I have never turned it off. I've been on vacations before. Um, because if I go, like I'm going to be in California for the next 3 days with Paul McLean, I'm going to keep it $250 a day. That way, when I come back in next week, I won't run into that Thursday, Friday, Saturday buffer because I'm going to have so many more leads from the days that I didn't work as much prior to. Never shut it
Chris,
off. It'll mess your algorithm up.
I want to just spotlight this, guys. What he just explained was that he doesn't think about his P&L from a day-to-day basis. And some of y'all still are. And you're wondering why you're always anxious and you're always paranoid and you're always stressed. Like, dude, a real business, you can't run a P&L day to day or even sometimes week to week. Like, you have to look at an entire month. And so you start thinking about everything in terms of longer time periods. It just relieves so much stress. And the money's always going to be there if you stay consistent with lead flow, workflow. Always. The cash flow is always there if the lead flow and workflow is there. So, Chris, you're 250 a day, 7 days a week. I'm doing some quick math in my head. So you're just spending like a little bit under 2 grand a week right now.
Yeah. Yep.
A little bit under 2 grand a week. So call it like
Yep.
8K. You're going to up that. It sounds like on the back half of the week. What is the
Yep.
total number that you would say you feel if you spent this much in a month, there's really not anything more you could spend? Is it like 10, 12, 14 grand a month? You feel like you'd just be swamped?
Yeah, I think if I did like $400 a day would probably be like the cap for me, that to where it wouldn't make sense. I think $400 a day would be the max that I would probably put it with where I'm at right now. That would be too much volume. I mean, I love, and this is a good thing to note too. You should love the feeling of being behind on leads. Like being behind on leads is probably the best feeling that you could possibly have. You never want to feel like because you want to work for it. Like you want to be actively working to catch up, you know? And that's how I feel Monday through Wednesday. That's why I'm going to up it because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I need to keep that same feeling to keep that hunger going because I don't want to have downtime where I'm not talking to people. So
Well said. Well
I would
said.
say $400 a day is probably the cap for me, and that's probably what I'll up it to.
Chris, that thank you so much. That was really clear and thorough on leads. And I know everybody always has the lead questions. I wanted to cover that clearly. Let's talk about the skill set part of this for a second before we get into
Yeah,
role playing.
yeah.
So on the skill set side, and you could be honest, I haven't asked you this question. I don't know what your answer is. Do you feel like you're substantially better today on the phone with a client than you were 9 months ago? Or do you feel like you just have more opportunity? Like what has shifted over the last 9 months? Because back then you're doing 7,000 a week, 8,000 a week in submitted business. Obviously now, it's not uncommon for you to have 25, 30, $40,000 a week in submitted business on your own pen. So like, is it just better opportunity, more opportunity, or has your skill set really improved over the last 9, 10 months?
It's a mixture of a lot of things. A good question. So, I actually had a conversation with one of my agents yesterday, Davis, who you're familiar with.
Yep.
And he gave me a list of like 6 things, and he wanted me to highlight the two kind of most important ones. The top two is work ethic and lead flow for sure. You have to have those two things. Those are the two most important because if you don't have the opportunities, if you don't have the leads coming in, there's not much you can do. There's not much you can do. Skill set's very important, but if you don't have people to talk to do that skill set, then it's null and void. So since 9 months ago, definitely more opportunities, more at bats than I've ever had, but also on the skill set side of things as well. That's obviously improved. And then one super hidden thing that I've talked on one of these calls in the past that I think kind of gets slipped under the rug is pressure. I put so much pressure on myself to perform that it's impossible for me to not. Like that could be in the office on Throwdown Thursdays, calling out whoever it is, the person that's first or second or whatever. But I put and I say this out loud, like I put the pressure on myself that like I am the best to ever do it. I'll say it out loud to people. So because I want them to know, because then that puts it on me to actually go prove it. You
Show
know?
up in that way.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
If I'm saying it to myself, which I do every morning, I say I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest salesman to ever do. I've done it for since I started sales. It's been 2 years. Affirmations in the cold shower. I'm the greatest salesman. I love myself. I'll prove myself right. I'll prove everyone wrong. I say that to myself, but saying it outside to other people, then it puts your back against the wall
It becomes
to where
real.
you have to go show it. It's put up or shut up. And that is super, super, super powerful. It's very uncomfortable,
Chris,
but you
hang
have
on.
to
I
do it.
want to I want to key in on this because like
Yeah.
some people are hearing what you're saying, and I'm not thinking of anyone specific, so don't take the statement personally, everybody that's listening. Some of y'all have loser mentalities, and you heard what he just said, and you're like, "Oh, dude, that's ego. Like that's a lot. Like, what an idiot to say that." Like, no, 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 no. I know Chris really, really well. I spent a lot of time with him personally. He's not egocentric at all. He's actually one of the more like selfless leaders in our company. What he has figured out is that because he's training his brain to believe that he is the best, and because he's putting it out in the ether, he is fully comfortable in not being the best any given day, any given week, because he understands if he falls on his face and fails, he's actually going to grow and learn through it and from it. And it's going to make him better. So he actually has less ego than the people that would refuse to say something like that because your ego is precluding you from putting that out in public because you're scared to fail. You're scared of that feeling of what if I miss my goal? He's not scared of that. He's totally cool coming into the office saying, I'm better than you. And if you happen to beat me, guess what he's going to do? Bro, you got me. You got me. What did you do better than me? Because I got to learn how to be better than you. Like it's a full circle. So Chris, I love it, dude.
One thing to touch on that
Go ahead.
too is when you say those things, it is not going to be true for a while. It still might not be true. I'm probably not the best. I'm probably not. But me saying that I'm not isn't going to do anything positive for me. And for all of the new agents out there, you're not going to be the best. Obviously, like you probably know that. Everybody knows that. But over time, as you continue to put that out into the ether and you continue to prove yourself right, you're gonna start believing it. You will start believing it, and that's when you're gonna get real traction, real momentum. And then when you do say it out loud, like I am right now to all of you guys, you do believe it. And then you'll take that same energy onto the phones because there is no body language. They buy strictly off of what your belief, what your conviction is, and that's when it becomes powerful, is saying it and then continuous proving it over time, and then that's when it becomes an immovable or an unstoppable force.
Well said, dude. You believe and everybody else believes what your activity confirms. Because when you first start saying stuff, you're an imposter in your own brain, you're an imposter in everybody else's head too. But over time, when the activity shows up and the results and the proof start showing up, your beliefs get confirmed, and now your identity completely shifts. And that's where you are today, 10 months in to saying, I'm the best. Just you might just actually become the best because your actions are confirming your belief. So, dude, let's dive into the role play because this
Yeah.
is really, really important. Let's do some preface because I'm going to tell you guys, Chris was doing mortgage protection for a long time. He's since shifted to IUL campaigns and IUL leads. And this is always like a sensitive topic because I love IULs. Love IULs. I'm an owner of an IUL, but I'm always careful with a ton of new agents because there's a right and a wrong way to position IULs. And I've worked with Chris. I've heard his pitch. He's doing it completely compliantly, selling them the right way. So I want you to really key in on his IUL sales process here. And so, Chris, anything you want to like preface before you go?
Yeah, I do. I do. So my kind of trick to IULs is I'm not an IUL specialist. Shout out Daniel Broadway because I have meetings with him to make sure that I'm obviously putting the client in the best position. That's the number one thing. And for all of you new agents, IULs are different per carrier with the benefits that they ultimately give, and you have to structure them the right way to pitch it how I do, which obviously I structure them the right way. But also, you want to undersell and over deliver, and that is with every single carrier because it's something that varies, with the market and things like that. So you want to undersell, over deliver. That's the biggest thing. Those are the only two things I want to preface, and you'll be able to see how I undersell, and then at the end of it, I'll kind of explain how I'm underselling it. But we can go into a role play.
Gabe, why don't you do the role play with Chris? Let the two of you guys run back and forth. You could be maybe a little harder on him than I was. I was maybe too easy because he obliterated me. We actually got done, and I think I'm actually going to buy an IUL from Chris. It was
Well, and honestly, too, if you say it the right way, like I'm not the best at rolling objections. You just eliminate them, like you preempting them. So, well, hey, Gabe.
I hate IULs.
All right, Gabe, tone it back, Gabe. Tone it back.
All right. Hey, you asked for it. No, I'm just
Hey, next dial.
kidding. Hey,
Better luck
Chris.
next time.
All right, let's go. Let's go again.
All right. Hey, Gabe.
Yeah, who's this?
Hey, Gabe. This is Chris Mumby. I'm getting back to you about the request you sent in online regarding the IUL. You listed Michael Cavalieri as the beneficiary, and you said your primary goal was to protect the family and grow cash value. Is that right?
Yeah, man. I've seen stuff online on this. Like I don't really know what's real, what's not. I was curious to see what
Yeah.
this was about.
Just kind of looking for some information. And is this your first time kind of going through that process, Gabe, or you've been through it before?
I think I had a financial advisor bring up one of these before, and I didn't do it at the time. But this is my first time talking to someone over the phone about it.
Got it. So, as I'm sure you're probably aware, it's pretty simple. I'm the agent assigned to help you out with this. So, all my job really is, Gabe, is to ask you a couple questions, just based on your health. And then from there, the options will come back to us from the state. And if any of them make sense to you and Michael, then I'll help you get that approved. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So, we'll start off easy with the date of birth. When were you born?
September 3rd, 1990.
Okay. And then any medications for any reason at all?
No, none.
Got it. And then any surgeries in the last like 5 years?
No, not in the last 5 years.
Okay. And then the height and weight for you.
5'9", 180.
Okay. And are you a smoker of tobacco, Gabe, or are you a non-smoker?
No, non-smoker.
Got it. Bad habit. Any history of heart attack, stroke, or TIA?
No, none.
Any cancer, stents, diabetes?
No, nothing.
Any neuropathy, lupus, asthma, COPD?
No,
And then any anxiety, depression, kidney, liver disease, or STDs?
no, none of that.
You're healthy as a horse, Gabe. You got any tips for me? I'm taking notes over here.
You know what? Just Chipotle 3 times a day, dude. That's all I can say.
Hey, I'm on the same diet plan. Working pretty good for me too. And did you have any like life insurance in place currently, or is this kind of your first go around? Can
No,
you hear me?
I have a term I have in place right now.
Okay, got it. And what company was that through?
Let me switch my Wi-Fi real quick. Sorry.
Okay.
Run it with me while we're waiting because I think he's delayed.
Okay. Term policy. What company was that through?
I think it was through Kansas City Life.
Got it. Okay. And then how much were you covered for? Like how much is Michael going to receive upon your passing?
Half a mil.
Okay. And then do you know how much you were paying for that policy each
Dude, I'd
month?
have I'd have to look.
Okay, not a problem. We'll go into that later. And then did you have anything that acted as life insurance, like any 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, anything like that?
I have a 401k through my employer.
Okay, current employer, like it's not an old one.
It's a current employer.
Okay, we'll touch base on that too. And then what was kind of the main reason you were looking into something like this?
Honestly, dude, I saw an ad and I got that policy a while ago and I just thought I would look into it. I've had a kid since then and thought maybe I needed some more coverage. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've been taking care of your kid your whole life while you're living. Might as well just take care of him while you're gone too, right?
Yeah. Gabe, are you still delayed?
I'm back. Yeah,
All right.
looking for a policy for my son, little Mikey.
Yeah, you've been taking care of Mikey your whole life while you're living, Gabe. Might as well take care of him while you're gone too, right?
100%.
They sound like a good dad. So I'm pretty excited to present these options to you, Gabe, because it does look like we have a company called Mutual of Omaha coming back to us here. Have you ever heard of them before?
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of them quite a bit.
Okay. So, firstly here, Mutual Omaha has been around for quite some time, as I'm sure you're aware. Never missed any payments for a family, so you can rest assured knowing not only will Mikey get the benefit here, but he'll probably get it pretty quick because we are dealing with a relatively big company. Now, all of these options, Gabe, are indexed universal life options, and they're permanent. So the price isn't going to increase on you. The coverage is not going to decrease for Mikey, and it's guaranteed to pay out to him no matter how or when. God forbid you were to pass. It's going to build a cash value. So as you're putting money into the policy, it is going to grow and you can borrow against it tax free. And then the biggest portion of the benefit, Gabe, typically for young guys like you that are still working, are the living benefits. Have you ever heard of those before?
No, not really.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, Gabe, but I would have to imagine you're probably one of, if not the main financial contributor for your son, Mikey, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, got it. And I don't know what you do for work. I don't have to, but I would have to imagine whatever you do, you got to be pretty mentally sharp and physically able, right?
Correct.
Okay. So if you were to get diagnosed with some sort of like heart attack, stroke, cancer, it would probably make you and Mikey's lifestyle financially just a little bit more.
Did we lose him? You there,
Can
Chris?
can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out for a second.
Okay. So I would have to imagine, Gabe, like if you were to get diagnosed with some sort of heart attack, stroke, cancer, it would probably make you and Mikey's lifestyle financially a little bit more difficult, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have some savings, but yeah, after a while, it would be tough.
Okay, that's exactly what this portion of the plan is designed to protect for you and Mikey. If you were to get diagnosed with any of those three things, this policy is going to pay you out a portion of its benefit while you're still living so that you, your wife, and Mikey don't have to face that financial hardship as hard while you guys are still alive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, makes
Okay.
sense.
So that first option here, Gabe, is going to be for 300,000 in permanent coverage for you and Mikey. That one came back at 222 and 50 cents. The second option is going to be for 200,000 in coverage for you and Mikey. That one came out at 142 and 85 cents. And then this last option here, Gabe, is going to be 100,000 in coverage. And that one there was just 75 bucks. Now, obviously, I'm sure you're aware, Mutual of Omaha is going to have the final say as to whether or not we can even get approved for the coverage. But out of those three plans, which one would you like to see if you could even get approved for?
Hmm. Well, I don't know. I guess my first thought, Chris, is, the term I have now is for $1 million, and I'm only
Mhm.
paying like $60 for it. So I guess I'm just thinking, like, hey, this is going to be less coverage for more money. Why is it so much more?
Yeah, so let's dig into that a little bit. So I know you said you had that term policy. Firstly, when did you get it put in place?
I probably got it about 5 years ago.
Okay, and how old are you now? Wasn't
I'm
the best at
35.
math. 35. Okay, you got it 5 years ago. So I assume it was a 30-year term?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Got it. Okay, so it's going to expire at what? 60, 65?
Yes, right 60.
Okay, and you're paying $60 for $1 million in coverage?
Right.
Okay, so with you being so young, makes sense why it's so cheap. What I want you to do is pull out your phone really quick, Gabe, and I want
Okay.
you to type in what percentage of term policies actually pay out. And then
Okay.
let me know when you have that pulled up.
I got it.
Okay, so as you
Oh,
can
Google it.
see, yeah, Google it. What does that
Okay.
say?
Says 3%.
Okay, got it. Is that kind of like, is that what you expected, or is that a little different than what you expected it to say?
I got to be honest, a little different.
Yeah, and it is to most families. That's the reason why I got into the industry. Is my grandpa got put on a 30-year term policy at age 40. Guess what? Now he's 71, and now my grandma has no insurance. So although that's $60 policy for $1 million in coverage, I assume you plan on living another 30 years, right?
Hopefully.
Okay, and most families do. So this policy is going to ensure that when you wake up at 66, you're not mad you're still alive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that
Okay.
makes sense.
Bro,
So,
that was the best rebuttal that I've ever heard on that objection ever. That was heat. Sorry. I just wanted to say that. That was good.
I just got a
Continue.
charge from Mutual of Omaha. I don't know how Chris did it, but I already have. This guy emailed my policy.
That was good.
um, and then from there, I would say, like, I would reclose it. So I'd be like, hey, Gabe, and by the way, I can give you my professional opinion if you'd like. But out of those three, which one would you like to submit the request for?
You know what? I think the 300,000 looks good.
Okay. And then I'm required to ask you, if we are approved for that policy today, is that 222, is that a comfortable and sustainable rate for you and Mikey?
Yeah, no, I think so.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, I'm going to start on the application. They're going to send you over a policy packet, Gabe. This is going to get sent about 5 to 10 business days upon the issuing of the policy. What address do you want that sent to?
123 Sesame Street.
Perfect. And then the email I have on file to send over the virtual copy is gabeerickson.pinnacle@gmail.com, right?
That's it.
Okay. And then is this the best phone number they can get a hold of you at? God willing, we are approved today.
Sure is.
Okay. And then what was your social?
123 456 789.
And then for context, my average sale is less than 25 minutes long because I'm very efficient. So, like, as you guys can probably see, every single time I get an objection, every single time I get a question, I'm asking a question right afterwards that advances me in the sale, right? And when I'm actually in the app, like I more oftentimes than not, like I'll get all of the information, like account number, etc. Like everybody knows if you've been selling for a while, like Transamerica, when they load the pre-approval, this is kind of like a cool little example that I started doing recently. So Gabe, this is after you get the driver's license, the social, etc. It's loading that pre-approval result. Hey Gabe, and for the next like 60 seconds here, it's going to load a pre-approval result for me. It's going to show up as favorable or non-favorable. If it shows up as favorable, Gabe, that makes things super easy for the both of us. We can continue our application here with Transamerica. If it shows up as not favorable, that just simply means we're going to get redirected to one of the other 30 companies I represent here in the state of California. But I'm a pretty optimistic person, kind of glass half full. So I'm going to assume we get pre-approved. So I'm going to start asking you the questions that they're going to ask me once we're pre-approved. Who's your beneficiary? And then boom, and then right after that, account number. That way, if I have to redirect the sale to an entity, I already have all of the information because as you guys all know, when you have to redirect, there's a little bit of silence there. And I think the number one of the biggest things that separates like the top producers versus like even the middle of the road, like 20, 30K is not only efficiency, but also there is zero gaps of talking. Either I'm talking the entire time and Gabe's listening, or I'm listening to Gabe. There is no holds. That's the biggest like killer of momentum. There being no talking on either side. It's either I'm asking you a question, you're asking me a question, and that's it. And that's how you build rapport with a lot of people. Like when they're on the phone with me for 18 minutes long, I build rapport with them because I'm not wasting their time. And if you're talking with successful people, time is money. You don't want to be they don't want you don't want them to feel like you're taking up more time than you really should. And I'm not saying every sale's got to be 18 minutes long, but I'm just saying if they're not asking you a million questions, don't dig into it for 20, 30 minutes. Advance the sale forward, put them in the best position possible, and then move on to the next. That's it. People respect that. That was kind of my
Love it.
piece on that. I feel like it's important.
I mean,
Strong.
that was strong, bro. That was major, major sauce. I would say this recording should be a master class to anybody that is not as strong as what Chris is, which is a lot of people listening in right now. I want you to key in on a few different things. Number one, listen to the dude's tone the entire time. Did he sound confused about literally anything? The answer is no. He was in control of that entire conversation without a shadow of a doubt. He also asked way more questions than Gabe did. Whoever controls the conversation, whoever has the most questions is in control. That's who's going to win. like 100 out of 100 times. Brother, the way you explained everything was so easy to understand. You kept it so simple. I feel like a lot of times we have salespeople that like talk themselves out of sales because they like water down the or convolute the information that they're giving. So you kept it so streamlined, so simple. Dude, it was a master class, like Paul said. It genuinely was. Mike, Gabe, Paul, if you guys want to add anything, feel free. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, no, dude, that was epic. You got a few questions here in the chat. One of them says, "Can you touch on structuring?" The other says, "What if they start asking about the cash value or the technical sides of it?" I feel like
Yeah,
those are
so
along the same
honestly,
lines.
I don't think I'm qualified. I don't show anybody an illustration. That's why I undersell, over deliver. Nobody asked me for an illustration as to what it actually looks like at 65 or whatever it is, because I don't build it. I don't I don't pitch it like it's going to make him a millionaire. You know, I might even say that sometimes. Like, this is not going to make you a millionaire. It's going to grow a little bit of cash, a little piggy bank. That's it. So I pitch it as life insurance. You know, like, cash value is the lowest benefit that I'm worried about, that I want them to care about. If they say that their main goal is to become, you know, to grow a lot of cash value, I'll double down and be like, yeah, but it's super important. The death benefit's super important for Mikey, right? Okay, got it. So I will literally sell them on just the death benefit if their main goal is life insurance. And if somebody really wants cash value growth and illustrations and etc., I'm throwing them to Daniel Broadway, because I'm not qualified enough. I'm not going to tell somebody. The reason why I am confident on the phones is because I'm saying things that I'm confident in. You know what I mean? Where if they're asking me what it's actually going to look like, and cash value is a super important piece, I'm going to send that person to somebody that's a lot more qualified to do that for me. It's, you know, that's it.
A good
So
answer.
Good
structuring,
answer.
it's,
That's a really good answer,
The right
Chris.
answer. I noticed that because you talked about it, you went in on the living benefits. You know, it's like now I'm getting sold on that. I'm not thinking
and I don't
about.
even tell them a percentage of the living benefits. I just say it pays out a portion of its benefit. It might be 95%. It might be 50%. I don't
So,
tell them an
so
exact
Chris,
digit.
when we ran through a role play earlier, because we did, because anytime I have anybody that says they're going to go through an IOL role play, I do it with them. I learned the hard way over the years. And I didn't have to correct him on anything. I threw him a good objection. I said, hey, how much, like what portion of my death benefit will I receive if I had to touch these living benefits? What was the answer you gave? It was a good answer.
I just said it's dependent on the illness, and you'll see it in your policy packet.
Which is the right answer.
Because I don't know. I don't know. It's each carrier is a little different. Same with cash value. You know, each carrier does different cash value, so that's why I try not to put a number on it. If I do put a number on it, it'll be like 6%. Because genuinely, every single carrier will at least have a 6% cap, and it's most likely higher than that. So set, you know, proper expectations, and I just try and pitch it as much as life insurance as I possibly can, because I'm confident that it's going to do that for that family. And I would rather have them wake up at 65, not even knowing that there's that much of a cash value, and wake up to something pretty solid, versus me telling them they're going to have X, and then at 65, they have a lot less, right? What
Chris,
is your
I
average
saw.
IUL close?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
One of these I think is a great answer. How do you downsell someone that doesn't qualify for an IUL? Maybe because of health issues.
It's a great question. So, actually, prime example, and I'm not going to go into the weeds because I don't want to get too excited, but pretty cool annuity uh, look in the future. But guy comes to me, he sends out a request, he's looking for an IUL for cash value, etc. I get into his financial inventory, he has congestive heart failure. So immediately, as soon as he says that, I'm like, hey boss, what is kind of your main, like, I asked what was the purpose of you sending it in? Like, what was your main goal? And he said cash value, double down on it again. I'm like, hey, just to let you know, like, we're not going to be able to qualify for something that's going to generate you a lot of cash value. If you want a death benefit for your spouse, I can help you do that. But ultimately, I'm not going to be able to help you get something that's going to generate a lot of cash value. And then I asked that, but did you have anything that acted as life insurance? The golden kind of question for annuities. After
You muted Chris there.
My bad. I was trying to mute somebody else. Sorry, dude.
When
It was too good what you're about to say, Joe's like, dude, we gotta stop.
Well, when he said that, and I told him, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be able to generate anything with utilizing a life insurance policy to generate cash value with you because of your preconceived health conditions like the congestive heart failure and the few other things he had. But I can get you something with a death benefit. He already had life insurance, and I couldn't beat the rate, so it was chopped. It was chopped there. There was nothing I could do. And instead of me, like pitching a whole life policy, like bad expectations, I got a really solid annuity appointment because like I trusted me. Because as soon as he told me that health condition, I told him it wasn't possible. And then I asked him the annuity question, and I'm gonna shout out Daniel here. This is sauce if you haven't heard it, but hey, do you have anything that acts as life insurance, has a beneficiary tied to it? Any 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds? He had a 401k. You always ask, is it old or is it current? Because there's a lot more you can do with annuities on an old 401k than a current one, right? Then you ask them how much they actually have in that 401k. This guy said a pretty considerable amount. I'm not going to get excited, but considerable amount. Okay. And then I was like, okay. And then this is the buzz phrase. This is Daniel Broadway. It's not me. Hey, Mikey. So you have that 401k. I'm sure you know. It does one of three things. It either goes up, it goes down, or it stays the same. Now, if I was a magician and I had a magic wand, which one of those three things would you want me to wave away?
Going down.
Why?
I don't want to lose money.
Nobody does. So I'm not the financial specialist by any means, but I do have some connections. I want to get you in contact with one of my buddies. His name's Daniel. He's been doing this for a lot longer than me. He's a lot more qualified to ultimately tell you what financial strategies are out there. What time later today or sometime next week works best to get in contact with him. And then I let Daniel do the rest because I'm not qualified to set any expectations or whatever. But to answer that question, Cliff Note wise, just be transparent with them. If they can't qualify for the product they requested, just tell them that they can't. And a lot of times they'll still buy a whole life product because they want, life insurance, right? So just be transparent. It's a lot more powerful. They're going to be able to tell that you're kind of beating around the bush.
Man, dude, this is the best call that I've learned more on this call than I've learned on any other call that we've done. Like genuinely. It was fantastic. Guys, go give Chris a follow on IG. You're going to see some good blackjack content too. He has to blow off some steam after he makes so much money. So it's all good stuff. I'm just messing around, but Chris, dude, I'm super grateful to have you as a business partner, dude. You're right now. I look as the CEO, and from a 30,000 foot view, you look for people that get it and are doing all the right things and taking all the right actions and have the right attitude and care about people and are selfless and exemplify people over profit and set the right pattern for others to follow. And you do all of those things as well as anybody else, man. So I couldn't be more proud of you. I could not be more proud of you. I think you might be the best to ever do it. So I'm really excited to see what your journey looks like, dude. It's nuts to think that you're less than a year into the industry and where you're going and where you're going to be and how many people you're going to impact. So don't lose what you have, bro. If I was meeting with you one-on-one, it would be stay humble. Don't let the success get to your head. Ego is the enemy. Make no mistake. Make it about everybody else. Provide as much value as you can. And what you're doing today is going to look like child's play just a few years from now. And it's exciting, dude. So thank you for your time. You dropped real heat. I can promise you guys he held nothing back. That was all straight, exactly what he's doing every single day. And so take notes, replicate it. If he could do it, you could do it. So let's grow, guys. I said at the beginning of the call, we got 1 month left in quarter 1. If you haven't been happy with the first 2 months, let's get on track now. Steal the momentum from everybody else. Crazy momentum right now inside the company. Record week, record week, record week, record week. It's been insane. We're just heating up. Recruit more, sell more, lead more, serve more, and your life is going to change. So let's have an amazing rest of the day. Let's have a massive week ahead. Chris, love you, brother. Talk to you guys soon.